Okay, so what's the reaction been like in the market to this announcement, and what's the share price done?
Yeah, so we went up. We're not trading anywhere near the issue price of these shares to EcoPro. So I think we got intraday about 16 cents. These shares will be placed at 17 cents. So I think it's a fair reaction. I think the market will take some time to digest this, and I'm not sure that the market understands who EcoPro is. And over time, it's not a big name like Samsung or LG, but over time people will do their research and realise that this is one of the major players in the cathode industry globally. So this is the perfect partner for Blackstone. So yeah, I think we're in a market where you're going to get profit taking, and unfortunately we saw a bit of that today, but we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Okay, well, I guess it's down to you to tell the story, right? Because I was the same way. I was like, who's EcoPro? I just didn't know. But I think once you know, you get some sort of comfort that they will probably, if you deliver, want to follow their money, as you say, to secure either some kind of offtake agreement or other agreement. Okay, well let's talk about those assets then. You've told us it's got 130 million bucks already sunk into it from previous mining operations. Can you just remind people why it shut down and what you're going to be doing going forward?
So it shut down at the bottom of the nickel price. So $8,000 per tonne nickel price when the mine was put into care and maintenance. The reason it was put into care and maintenance was also the fact that they actually mined the first ore body and depleted it, and they didn't do any exploration outside of that first ore body. So there was no exploration conducted by the previous owners. They left behind 25 exploration targets, which we're now moving through, and we've just drilled out the first of those 25 targets. The first target is called the Banford Disseminated Ore Body. We believe will be a mine for the next 10 to 20 years. And so that's the other reason why we're able to, I suppose, entice or attract these end users, is we've got a mine that justifies a significant investment from the end user because we can deliver the nickel over the long term. So, which a lot of our peers will have smaller mine lives and won't be able to justify building that downstream processing facility, which we'll now look at.
Okay, so what I want to talk about is obviously what you're going to be able to do with whatever amount of that 6.8 million is going to go in the ground, because you've got quite good grades. I mean, over 1% on average across the board with looking at some of the drill results. So that's pretty good. What you don't have currently is a sense of the scale of this, how big this could be. So what are you going to do with whatever money that you're going to spend from the 6.8?
Yeah, so we're still on track for our maiden resource in June, July this year. And then we'll follow that very quickly with our scoping study, or PEA as they call it in Canada. And that will be the moment where the market realises how much nickel has been left behind and how much or how economic that first ore body will be. So they're two key milestones. The $6.8 million will also be used for exploring other ore bodies, but at the same time, we'll also move these studies all the way through to a bankable feasibility study. So with 6.8 million, we're actually funded all the way through to complete a bankable study. Our cost profile or cost structure in Vietnam means we can get a lot more done. We're drilling for $60 a metre versus in Australia that would be 300 in Canada it was $500 a metre. So we can do a lot more with the $6.8 million in Vietnam than people with a similar amount would need to invest in Australia. And so we're confident we can get all the way through to a bankable study, and that's the idea of this capital injection from EcoPro is they saying, how much do you need to finish your bankable study? Here it is, bang.
So, and you probably won't answer this, but what the results will come out in May, June, July sometime, right? The scoping study. What do you know today? Are you encouraged by what you see in terms of where this ore body sits in terms of what do you know about it? What can you tell us?
So what we can say is that, I think we'll go back to your first question, the 1% nickel. We've got a significant amount of this 1% nickel, which is this King Cobra discovery zone. That is twice the grade that we were expecting. So we were happy with anything around 0.5% nickel. As you know, there's some of our peers that are looking to mine even less than that or lower grade. So we've got a significant tonnage at these higher grades. This will deliver a 10 or 20 year mine. So it'll be an economic mine also because we've got the platinum, palladium, gold, rhodium, copper, cobalt. Byproduct credits will deliver up to 20% extra revenue on top of the nickel. So there's 80% of the revenue will come from nickel. We've also got all these other metals in there.
How do you know you're going to be able to economically create byproducts with all of those different commodities?
Yeah, so we're doing that metallurgical test work now. The previous owners didn't assay for PGEs, so this is a new part of the mine that wasn't previously understood. So we're doing that initial work now, but we're confident that those metals will all float into the concentrate, and so you will be able to monetize them.
Where's that confidence? Where's that confidence come from, Scott? Because obviously many companies think that until the metallurgy work is done. So what do you know?
Yeah, we've done early stage bench scale test work. Yeah, so we need to do the numbers around that. At the moment, we don't know who the customer might be for palladium or rhodium. So there's a bit of work to do, but we do know we can recover them. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So back to the scale question: is what do you know today about how far this goes out? I mean, how much historical drilling data have you got, for instance?
So we've got, I suppose, the things we can talk about are we've got a kilometre-long ore body. It's 500 metres wide. There's multiple millions of tonnes, so multiple tens of millions of tonnes of economic nickel sulfide in the first ore body. So if we were to build a 2 million tonne per annum concentrator, we might be looking at a 10 to 20 year mine life. So yeah, there's sort of numbers we're looking at.
Okay, and I know you haven't done the scoping study with PEA at the moment, but you talk about being funded through to BFS. What type of CapEx numbers would we be talking about? Because again, you've referenced low CapEx compared to peers who may be talking about $1 billion to kind of get dealing with laterites, but so, sulfide projects a little bit cheaper. So what do you know?
Yeah, so what we can say is that the numbers are still looking very competitive. Circa $100 million US or for a downstream processing facility. We still would need to upgrade the concentrator, so there's another capital spend there which we're still doing the work on, but I'm confident we'll land below, say, 200 million total. So yeah, we're still 20% of a HPAL scenario. So yeah, we're aiming for that 10 to 20% compared to that $1 billion HPAL plant, which is our main competitor.
Right. No. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very different. And I think we've done enough, interviews with people talking about the difference between laterites and sulfides ore bodies. So, 200 million market cap. Again, where would you? I mean, because you're going to talk about getting into production in the next 2 to 3 years, right? That's pretty quick in the scheme of things.
Unfortunately, I've now signed up EcoPro, and they're not going to accept anything less, and they're going to keep me accountable to that, and that's fine because my background being a mining engineer, I'm happy to go forward with this, and the good thing is now we've got the funding partner, so that won't be the bottleneck. So going forward, funding won't be the bottleneck. We obviously need to push very quickly through these studies, and obviously we don't want to be cutting corners on any of that, drilling and metallurgy, and so there's a lot of study work, but there's still 12, 18 months of studies here. and then we can build in 2022 and mining in 2023. So that's EcoPro will keep me accountable to that. And I'm happy because as long as they keep funding it, I can deliver that.